Hi everyone. So I have a very interesting video for you guys today, and this is more like a reflection plus tips video. So nothing fancy. I started working fairly recently. It's been around 2 years at the most. So I've mentioned this before in my previous introductory video, but I'm going to say it once again. So I'm a counseling psychologist and I live in Bangalore, India. And currently the kind of jobs that I am looking into and I'm also working at is as a school counselor or a student counselor. I mainly work in the well-being team of schools, and I've previously also worked in an organization which is purely mental health affiliated. And even though the time span of me working has been really small compared to a lot of you who may be watching this video or you may still be in college, these are some learnings that I've had in this really short span of time, and I really hope that you are able to also take away from this video. I was blessed to have some good people around me and great parents to guide me. Some of these things or some of these lessons I usually only learned when we are really into the bit and comes from hardship. What can I say? Here are 7 things that I've learned and are very true real reflections of what my working life has taught me, and what I really think you could also take away from this video and implement it into your own lives if you aren't doing. If you're already doing them, amazing. I'm super proud of you, and I really hope you go on to telling other people also to follow these tips. Now, I think of these more as unspoken rules. So in any organization that you work in, there are spoken rules and then there are unspoken rules. Spoken rules are basically rules and regulations that the school follows, protocols, hierarchy, and all that blunder. But the unspoken rules are often what will really get to your nerves and may also somewhere, if not followed properly, risk your own job. And these are unspoken rules that not a lot of people are aware about. At least the co-workers that I had, they were not very aware about it. But number 1, have a work personality. I kid you not, one of the worst things that I did in my working life when I started working was to show my real authenticity as a person at work. Now, the way you would throw a tantrum like I would at home, you're not going to do that at work, because there are certain, unsaid rules and unsaid expectations that you have in the workplace. And that's essentially what we call professionalism. But having a work personality basically means that you completely make a new persona of yourself, which is more regulated. Now, I don't mean that we should be fake. I don't mean that we should be inauthentic. But this work persona is the part of you that's going to go to work every single day, that is not going to react, but would rather respond, and would focus on protocols, would focus on certain rules and principles that you set for yourself, no matter what. This work personality is going to ensure that you keep your personal life way aside than your work life. We're going to come to that later on, but this was one. Number 2, competition will always exist. No matter where you go, no matter how amazing your office or your organization is, there's always going to be competition, and it's inevitable. There might be people who are competing with your skills. There may be people who are competing for your designation. There may be people who are generally competing because they have nothing else to do. It brings them pure joy. So who are we to stop them anyway? While competition is good and we should be competitive to an extent, it is important to remember that the only way to deal with competitive people is to not entirely give in and be a victim of whatever they're saying, but rather to deal with them calmly and in a very regulated manner. On the same lines, the only sustainable way to deal with competition in general is to focus on your own work and be the best at what you do. And that means following protocol, following hierarchy, and more importantly, grabbing opportunities when they pop. I don't mean to say that you should work beyond your 9 to 5 work hours. I don't mean to say that the first thing that you wake up is for you to look into the phone and respond before anybody else. I don't even mean to say that you have to be best friends with your boss. But what I do mean to say that every time there is an opportunity where you feel that you might be able to contribute, you can take it up as a new challenge, go for it. If nothing, it's going to be a great learning opportunity, and that growth mindset is what's going to set you ahead. Third, toxicity is inevitable. It's going to be everywhere. Now, it differs on what I feel is toxic, what you feel is toxic, or what your co-workers feel is toxic. But the toxicity I'm talking about are office politics, gossiping, bitching about another person, trying to one-up another person by bringing the other person down, making up stories, all of those petty things that you're going to notice happening in your workplace. And it will at some point make it very difficult to be around toxic colleagues. But while to an extent we can avoid them, if you completely go up avoiding them, then that's going to bring up a different problem, which we're going to pick up later. Deal with toxicity in the workplace is to not be involved in them, is to not participate in them. Someone comes and, bitches about somebody else to you. Professionalism here on your part will not be to say something very to the point, but rather to not say anything. The whole point of professionalism is choosing when to speak and what you say. But more importantly, ensure that the words that you use are not going to backfire at you. And in situations which is risky like this, just don't say anything at all. It's the best possible move that you can do, because you can't go wrong. The other person is eventually going to realize that they're not going to get anything from you, and they're going to go away and they're not going to bother you anymore. 4. Being a team player matters way more than I expected. Now, I was the kind of person who I would be extroverted. I would like to be part of celebrations, but I would always think that, isn't it better if I could use this particular time into finishing up one of the pending works that I have, so that I wouldn't carry it later on to the next day. So work should be a priority, but at the same time, it's important that we need to find that balance. So you can't constantly isolate yourself every single time, whether it is from office parties, whether it is from social gatherings, whether it is as simple as going to your office in the morning and having your colleagues have a meet and greet, like, hey, how are you? What did you do? How was your weekend? Those conversations are crucial for being a team player. And of course, there's way more to just this than to being a team player. But let's start from here. I get it. You're trying to focus on your work. You're trying to hustle and get forward. But in an organization, being a team player, especially if you're part of a team, is extremely important. The best thing to do here is to find that balance. Choose which events you would like to go through. Choose where you would like to pitch in. Choose which celebrations you would like to be a part of. But set a limit to it. You don't have to go to every single celebration. You don't have to go to every single team lunch. Where prioritization comes in. And here, in this point, is also where your work persona will come handy. Ensure that you have a work persona in hand for these social situations inside the work. 5. You don't owe access to anybody about your personal life. And I really hit rock bottom to learn this. In the workplace, there will be colleagues who seem very interested about you. They want to know about you. They're curious about you. But there are also another set of colleagues who are going to pry into your personal life and find out every single detail to just for whatever reason that they want to know. But you know what? You have to learn to draw those boundaries. And this is one thing that I didn't do. Early on when I started working, I used to feel that any of my colleagues who were super nice to me, who were super relatable, are friends. And this is something I learned the hard way. Your colleagues can't always be your friends. Those are two completely different contracts. Set a line, draw a boundary on how much about your personal life you want to disclose to build rapport, to build relationships and to make a bond. But you don't have to say every single thing and detail about your personal life. In the end of the day, remember that any information that you give out about yourself can be used against you. Number 6. Staying authentic is way harder than it sounds. I started working and I would look around. Every workplace that I've joined, I've been the youngest in that place. So I have all these people who are much older than me, way more experience. Everybody has different personalities. I see that certain colleagues who are very, outspoken and very, very friendly, very, very open about their personal lives, very, very clingy to the management, are the kinds of people who seem to be getting the opportunities. And somewhere along the way, I think I let myself go a little teeny tiny bit by also trying to be like them, which obviously backfired. It didn't go well. So, what I'm trying to say is that being authentic, and when someone says you just got to be yourself, it's way harder to do, and it has to be done with constant reminders. All the things that we've spoken about till now, right? About sticking to your work persona, having those boundaries, focusing on yourself, setting your goals, and only focusing on that, following protocols. All these are things that you must do consistently, and you must keep reminding yourself who you are authentically and stick to that. Number 7. This by far I feel is the most important thing. When you are in the workplace, document everything. It doesn't matter why, it doesn't matter when, you document it. A habit that I've inculcated when I started working in the past year is also to start carrying a book, a small diary, and a pen or a pencil. No matter where I go, no matter which meeting I am in, I document it. And eventually I also put this onto a soft copy. So any conversation, any communication that I want to have with the management, with another person, mail them. Mail is by far one of the most official platforms that you can use. It is encouraged that you mail more rather than WhatsApping people. And while there are many organizations who focus on WhatsApping things, it's also essential that you also drop in that mail, whether people ask for it or no. Tomorrow when the odds are against you, this documentation is the only evidence that's going to save your ass. I don't think work teaches you skills, but it does teach you how you need to adapt around different sets of people. And I think that is a very important life skill, because in years to come, we are going to be dealing with different kinds of people. There are going to be people who are angry all the time, who are defensive, who are difficult to work with, who are highly competitive, and even much more smarter people than you, which by the way is also unavoidable. There will always be someone who is smarter, more skilled than us out there in the world. So it's important to put all these reflections, and really think about them, because I know that there are still a lot of things that I'm yet to learn as life goes by. And I'm super excited about it. I'm really looking forward to it. But so far, work has been this way. If this resonates with you, please follow, subscribe, and definitely drop comments on what are some things that you've learned in your workplace. And I would be more than happy to go through them and respond to you. Thank you so much for watching. Until next week. Bye-bye.